We've got architecturally inspired Ophions, super funky divers from Oris, and GShock celebrates the Big 4-0. This is A Week in Watches, episode 67, your weekly look back at the people, watches, and stories from the industry. My name is Blake Bettner, I'm the managing editor of Worn & Wound. Let's jump in. This episode was sponsored by Citizen and their new Citizen ProMaster Skyhawk watches, with unparalleled functionality and utility. The new release continues Citizen's focus on style, versatility, and performance for the pilot or aviation enthusiast in their ProMaster Air collection. We'll have more on this later in the episode. All right, let's kick things off with a new release from Ofon. They do beautiful watches with cases from Voutilainen with teardrop lugs. They have a new watch called the Vesper, like the drink. This has a dial inspired by the Newton cenotaph, a conceptual work done by the architect Etienne Louis Boulay, and it was never actually built. But Ofon has found a way to represent it here in this beautifully structural dial. If there ever was a dial that was going to pull you in for the closer look, it is this one. This is a watch that uses micro indexes that are applied to the dial that form rings that kind of take the place of a chapter rings or indexes, but that's really besides the point here. This is really an aesthetic, conceptual, beautiful watch. This uses a Schwartz Etienne ASE 200 micro rotor movement, and it comes in a range of colorful dial options, including blue and salmon, along with silver and black. So you can really play with the contrast here, even add splashes of color here and there. This overall is a really beautiful watch, and it comes in around 7,000 Swiss francs. Moving on to a new watch from our friends over at Collective Horology, who have released their latest collaboration with Oris. This is the Co4. It is a Diver's 75. You heard that correctly. This is a riff on the Diver's 65, but it's called the Diver's 75. And that is because it's recalling a certain funky era of the 70s with its color scheme, which goes into deep browns and oranges, kind of like that carpet your grandma had in her basement. This one is nostalgia all over it. This uses a 40mm case that is quite slim, under 13mm in thickness. It also uses Oris's Caliber 400, a movement that we've talked quite a bit about around here. It has anti-magnetic properties, it has a 10-year warranty, and most importantly, maybe it has a 5-day power reserve. All kinds of cool stuff here, and also maybe the most unique Diver 65 to date. If you're a fan of this platform but like big pops of color, this one will be for you. My favorite detail is they brought back those retro Arabic numerals along the dial. So nice work there from our friends at Oris and Collective Horology. Next up, we have a new release from Certina. This is the DS7. And if you're a fan of integrated sport watches, we've got another one for you. If you like the PRX from Tissot, this is another in-group competitor from Certina. These have a big personality, colorful dials, integrated bracelets. This uses a version of the Powermatic 80 that is fitted within a 39mm case that's under 10mm in thickness. Is there enough here to differentiate itself within a pretty crowded space of these kinds of watches? And at this price point, under $1,000, I don't know, but if you're a fan of Certina, if you just want something that's a little bit out of the usual or off the beaten path, these are great options for you. And more options are always a good thing in my book. And before we move on, here's a quick word from this week's sponsor. This week's episode is brought to you by Citizen and the new Citizen ProMaster Skyhawk. For pilots and aviation enthusiasts, the Citizen ProMaster Air collection expands the new ProMaster Skyhawk line of watches. The cases on the new ProMaster Skyhawk features a cockpit-inspired hybrid analog-digital display and comes in 3 colors, green, blue, and black. Bold hands and luminescent applied hour markers provide maximum legibility in all conditions and altitude, and a color-coordinated bidirectional rotating slide rule bezel completes the dial. With this unique tool, complex calculations like fuel consumption and speed can be measured to enhance your time in the skies. The ProMaster Skyhawk is powered by Citizen's proprietary EcoDrive technology in the caliber U680. This light-powered movement supports atomic timekeeping for 43 cities and an accuracy of plus or minus 15 seconds per month, shock protection, automatic hand correction, and 6 months of power on a full charge. The Citizen ProMaster Skyhawk is priced at $750 and is available via Citizen's official website, citizenwatch.com. Thank you again to Citizen for sponsoring this episode of A Week in Watches. Discover their new ProMaster Skyhawk collection for adventures on the air or ground at citizenwatch.com. And back to the news of the week here, we have a new release from Ming. This is a 3704, their monopusher chronograph. We've seen this release before. This is a bit different because it's rendered in 18 karat 5N rose gold. even the dial. This is a stunning watch from Ming, and I think this is a design that works really well in this colorway. Of the colorway, of course, being natural rose gold, the whole thing comes together really beautifully. It uses the Le Jouperet LJP 5000.M1 movement, and this again is a monopusher. It has a view to that beautiful movement in the back, but what I really love here is the dial. This uses a deep guilloche pattern into that rose gold dial. Really comes together beautifully and elevates Ming into an area that we don't often see it. We often see them working in kind of monotone blacks and whites. So to see them use this kind of a gold is really unique, and I think it works with their design language for this particular watch really, really well. This is limited to just 20 examples, so it will be mighty hard to get, and it is priced at 48,000 Swiss francs. So if you've got the coin and you're looking to be one of those lucky 20 people, good luck and wear it well. All right, moving on to a new release from Zenith, who has a new Chronomaster Sport done in collaboration with their ambassador, Aaron Rodgers, the football player for the New York Jets, formerly of the Green Bay Packers. This is a release that brings a new look to the Chronomaster Sport. It uses a green bezel and a green dial, and it also places applied Arabic numerals all around the dial. So it's a bit sportier looking than your average Chronomaster Sport, which is already a pretty classy sports watch that we've seen rendered in white and black. The green really pushes this into a different territory. It also introduces bits of yellow within the timing elements of the chronograph. You could take that as maybe a nod to the quarterback's time in Green Bay. The green, luckily, also applies to the Jets, so no harm, no foul there. If you buy one of these, it will come with a box that has been signed by Aaron Rodgers himself. What do you think of this green on the Chronomaster Sport? Does it work? Are you a fan of the Arabic numerals? I'm kind of hit or miss on them. I like that this is a polarizing watch though, and I like seeing Zenith take risks like this. That's when I think they're at their best. So we have more details on that watch, as well as more from Aaron Rodgers, who I was able to talk to at the release of this watch, now live on Worn & Wound. We'll leave a link to that down below, as well as everything else that we've covered here today. And closing out this week, we are saying happy birthday to GShock, who turns 40 this year, but they're looking none the worse for wear. Of course, they have a couple of new models, Carbon 5000 models. These are 40th anniversary models that are rendered in carbon. These are watches that use a carbon monocoque watch case, a forged carbon case and band, and a layered carbon buckle. This comes in two colorways, it's fully blacked out, and then there's also a black and purple one that looks a bit like a galaxy come to life here in these watches. I think these watches are absolutely beautiful. They are limited edition and they are priced at $2,000. But if you're a huge fan of GShock, this is a great way to celebrate the birthday. They come with all the usual bells and whistles that we expect in these square case GShocks. It's got kind of a classic look to it, which I really like, but being done in this kind of high-end / exotic material, I think is a really cool juxtaposition here. So well done, GShock, and happy birthday on 40. And that does it for A Week in Watches, episode 67. Thanks so much for tuning in. In our next episode, Zach Weiss and myself will be answering questions that we've taken from the Worn & Wound Plus Slack community. So stay tuned for that one. It's a special episode, and we had a lot of fun doing it. Thanks again to everyone who wrote in for it. If you have questions for us, feel free to join the Worn & Wound Plus Slack community. It's free. All you have to do is sign up for our mailing list on Worn & Wound. If you're not subscribed to our YouTube channel, now's a great time to do so. And if you enjoyed this content, please be sure to leave a like and share. It helps us out a lot. And until next time, take care.